terror begins again.
And what's up, ya hooligans? Welcome to this segment of the show. We're going to go pretty in depth with what's going on out in New Jersey with this commission. It seems like it's heating up. They're calling people in front of the commission, trying to get answers out of them. Got to give them credit. They were pleading the Fifth Amendment. We're going to have the video of some questioning of the national vice president, well, according to them anyway, of some of the questions that they're asking them. We're also going to read this article that just came out. Boy, let me tell you, it is heating up out there. They're now comparing the motorcycle club just as bad as the Crips Bloods. MS-13. So it's getting pretty thick out there, man. So let's take a look at the article real quick. Hey, let's start it out here. This was actually printed yesterday, and it just shows you the concerted effort now that the New Jersey officials are starting to put the heat on. Especially, I don't know if you guys understand what these commissions about. There were some famous ones during the 1960s with Bobby Kennedy with the outfit, or that's what we call it in Chicago, Costa Nostra, Mafia, the Five Families out in New York City and the East Coast. And those were designed to bring out the, how can I say it, organized crime to the general public. And what these politicians do is they use this to, conjure up fear in the citizenry and get some laws passed. It also gets, dollars sent into the police budgets and all that type of stuff. But now in New Jersey, they're starting to hold the same type of hearings, and actually looking at it, they're going heavily after the Pagans. But let's get into the article real quick, and this one's out of the South Jersey Times editorial board. This biker gang is back with a vengeance and a threat to New Jersey. Now, with that language right there, you can tell how they are working together with the media to get that message out, with law enforcement's message. And again, I say it a million times, 1,000 times, whatever you want to say, unless the clubs get out there and get their side of the story out on this kind of stuff, it's just going to keep on going and getting worse, where the media is eventually going to peg this down, and the citizens are going to straight up say, you know what, enough's enough, take care of this stuff. But anyway, if you read or heard about the violent gangs in the past few years, the story probably involved MS-13, the Central American band that has expanded to the United States in a big way, which the article's not lying. The MS-13 on the streets have become one of the top. You want to talk about criminal gangs. They're one of the top. They go around using machetes, and they're just a brutal organization. President Donald Trump has cited this gang and others like it in his push to restrict both legal and illegal immigration from these countries. So you can already see at the start of the article that they're tying the Pagans in with the MS-13. There have also been warnings about New Jersey affiliates of the Bloods and their Los Angeles-based rivals, the Crips, taken hold in large sections of the state, as indicated by signs and colors found in various places. Illicit drug trade, assaults, and even murders make these organizations continuing threats to safe streets and community. Now, there's the key word right there that's going to lure in the general public against clubs, is illicit drug trade, assaults, and even murder. When citizens hear that kind of stuff, man, you already know they're going to be up in arms with that. Again, they're going to want the cops to handle it. The state police and local authorities continue to monitor them, but a different violent blast from the past is said to be reasserting itself. The Pagans motorcycle gang, which with a notorious history in South Jersey 2 and 3 decades ago is back with a vengeance, according to testimony at State Commission of Investigation hearing last week. Now, everybody might say, well, this is on a state level, this commission. Well, here's where you don't get. These state level commission hearings can end up at the federal level in, say the Justice Committee, the Judiciary, whatever they call it. And that is something that clubs do not want to happen, is to get to the federal level. They start hearing these types of things going on with some particular members of clubs. And next thing you know, you want to talk about fighting motorcycle profiling? Yeah, that's going to be out the door, because they're going to be like hounds on one of their targets if this gets to the federal level in a commission hearing, like they used to hold for the syndicate and all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. The outlaw bikers were once a familiar scourge in Philadelphia and Delaware County, Pennsylvania, as well as the southern half of New Jersey. Current leaders of the organization appeared at the SCI hearing, but stayed silent until Hugo Nieves, a National Pagans vice president who lives in South Jersey, stated, quote, "It's not the policy of this club to engage in any criminal activity." And that's all I will say about that. You'll be able to see the video of the Pagans talking or not talking to the commission later on in this episode. That's not what SCI investigators or specialized units in the state police believe. They say that under Nieves and the national president, Keith Conan Richard, who took over in 2018, the Pagans have initiated a big membership drive on the East Coast. Officials say that some New Jersey chapters have seen a 50% membership increase, and the Pagans have a bigger presence now in North Jersey than in past they're calling it incarnations here. In addition to the drug trade, they are selling illegal weapons, initiating clashes with other biker gangs, and mistreating women who associate with the members. No one in South Jersey needs to be reminded of the violence that outlaw bikers can do. The Franklin Township murder of Township Police Sergeant Gonzalez on May 6th of 95 was attributed to two members of the Warlocks. A similar construction, it's a rival of the Pagans, they're saying. So you see how the story's going right here, right now. You know what? They're laying it on thick. And this right here is how, the media, look what's going on in this country right now. People only pay attention to the media of their choice. They don't get out there. They don't try to see both sides of the story, and it gets embedded in their minds. This year, an Upper Township Pagans member, Noah Frost, was indicted in Atlantic County for the attempted murder of another pagan, Benjamin DePilla. Prosecutors allege that Frost allegedly ran over DePilla, who was riding his motorcycle with a truck. Police think the incident stemmed from a road rage dispute. Yeah, that one don't make no sense, but hey, it is what it is. And last October, pagan biker Aguelo was convicted in the bizarre 2012 murder of April Kaufman, a well-known Atlantic City radio talk host, and the wife of prominent Atlantic County physician, Dr. James Kaufman. Kaufman killed himself in prison while awaiting trial last year, but investigators believe he engaged the biker gang to kill his wife to prevent her from exposing a drug ring in which he and the Pagans were involved. And of course, he was convicted on that. We actually had an interview with somebody that was involved with that case. You can see it over on our motorcyclemadhouse.com, over at the podcast, or you to watch the video part on YouTube. None of this romanticized stuff of the street rumbles of West Side Story. While MS-13, Bloods, Crips, and various hyper-local gangs have been in constant focus of law enforcement, the resurgence of the Pagans and similar groups may be even scarier. The SCI has sounded the warning, and it hopes that those who are charged with upholding the law have elevated those outlaw motorcycle gangs to the level of supervision they now require. That means they're going to put them under like the FBI does with the syndicate and stuff. They'll have agents staking them out. And yeah, that's where it's going to get bad, man. It really is. It's going to get bad out there. And the fight for motorcycle club profiling is going to start taking some back, if you know what I mean. Like I said before, do I believe that the whole organization is doing stuff like this? I don't, you know what, I really don't think so, but, you know, the members that do it, it's really given the clubs a bad name. You know, yesterday we did that one video, and people were like, you know, that's old news, that old news. No, it ain't old news. You know why it ain't old news? Because that video of that, I don't know if he was a hang-around supporter of the Hells Angels that got beat with that axe handle by a member of the Pagans. That ain't old news, guys. That was showed at this commission hearing, and they used that as evidence of why this is such a threat. So it's all about optics, and yeah, some of it's based on facts. Some of these incidences did happen. I believe the guy got 4 years in prison for that. So unless there's some type of evolution in the thinking of some of the clubs, I don't know what you want to call it. I know there's a lot of organizations out there for the profiling stuff. I know a lot of strides have been taken in that, but stuff like this is going to actually pull back the motorcycle club rights type of, how can I say it, movement, because you're taking a step forward and then something happens, you get thrown 3 steps back because these politicians are listening in these type of commissions. Again, when a club is brought in before a commission on the state, and by God, I hope not the federal level, it's going to send some shockwaves through what's going on. You know, right now on appeal, you got the Mongols appealing the decision out of California. Their whole entire club was held... They were convicted of RICO. You know, regardless of what my thoughts are, regardless of what thoughts that you might have about clubs, the issue here is what the citizens have in their mind. Now, again, and again, and again, I know clubs are not supposed to worry about the citizenship. And again, I say that's the wrong way of thinking about it, because the citizens elect the representatives. They sit on juries. And when this kind of stuff gets in their mind, I don't care if a club member was falsely accused or not, they are going to convict them just on what they heard through the media. They're hearing what law enforcement has to say, and they're showing selective incidences, just like they did at this commission with this video. So I don't want to sound like I'm a preacher or any. I'm an editorial opinion columnist and nothing more, man. But my opinion is that it's getting pretty thick out there. And, you know, this is just one club. You got the West Coast going on with the Mongols with the patch case. And pretty soon, what the feds are going to do is lump everybody in, and they're going for those trademarks. I actually, again, I wrote a parody piece over on Insane Throttle, which is went viral, and the reason being is how I worded it in the beginning, and I said, okay, this is a parody, guys. This is what actually could happen. Now, MS-13 before Trump was never on the radar. Yeah, we heard, you know, pieces coming out here and there, but, and this is a but, as soon as Trump got in, his focus went straight to MS-13, and now they're under siege by the federal government. People say, well, clubs have been under siege. You know what? They haven't seen under siege until the federal government starts treating them like MS-13, or start treating them like the Bloods, the Crips, some of the hardcore street gangs out there. Once you get into that type of exposure, and these commissions are that kind of exposure, you're into some stuff, man. It's going to be unrelenting. It's going to make the stuff going on in Texas look like some baby crap, man, because, you know, I know the commissions out of Chicago, the Chicago Crime Commission, they hold huge sway here in Illinois over law enforcement. And basically what they determine is like gold, man, because, you know, not only you got police, but you got these commission investigators are out there under, you know, in the background that you probably don't even know about, getting intelligence, the whole 9 yards. And next thing you know, you're caught with your pants down and you're saying, what the hell's going on here? Really? You know, the problem is, I believe, with clubs is they're always looking short term. They don't look at the long-term picture of what's going to happen, you know, to the scene. They only look short-term. You know, most club members, you know, they're lucky to hit 20 years. You know, God thank, you know, people are reaching 40, 50 years. That is awesome stuff there. But, you know, the median, I think, is like 10, you know, between 10 and 20 years. You got to think long term for the survival of your organization. And this type of heat is not going to be good for the long game, especially now where 30% of even independent bikers and bikers do not support clubs. They rather support a Leo organization than they would a traditional motorcycle club. Add in the fact that a lot of these kids have, you know, coming into the scene have no interest in it. You know, they're more into the rocket type of clubs, and they're not into all the politics stuff, man. They, it's just a fact. Yeah, a lot of us, the old guys, you know, between 40 and up, we're like, oh, you know, this, and this. But the truth is, and the reality is, the younger kids are going to take over this scene in about 5 to 10 years. And what you see now is not going to be good, man. You're not playing the long game. That's just my, you know, way of looking at it. But let's play this video real quick of the commission hearing real quick.
Mr. Nieves, can you state your full name on the record for us?
Hilo Neves.
And how old are you, Mr. Nieves?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
That's your age, Mr. Nieves?
Yes, I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Where are you currently employed, Mr. Nieves?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
What is your role within the Pagans Motorcycle Club?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Mr. Nieves, are you currently the National Vice President of this organization?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Mr. Nieves, are you a Pagans Motorcycle Club member at all?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Mr. Nieves, I want you to take a look at the screen for me here, looking at PMC 19. Is this photograph of you at this year's War of the Shore in Wildwood wearing what is referred to as pagan cuts?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Now, Mr. Nieves, you heard a lot of information about what the commission has found about the members of the Pagan Motorcycle Club. One of the things we heard was that when you enter the club, Mr. Nieves, you're given specific rules and information on what to do if you get arrested and what to do if you end up in prison. Is this information provided to the members of the Pagans Motorcycle Club, your club, because you expect and know that these members will engage in activities that will result in their arrest and ultimately their incarceration?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Mr. Nieves, as the National Vice President, can you explain why there is such a large number of Pagan Motorcycle Club members that are dealing narcotics within your organization?
I wish to serve my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Is there something you want to weigh in on that sheds light on the role and purpose of the Pagans Motorcycle Club? Mr. Ellison.
I plead the Fifth.
Mr. Neves.
All I will say is that it is not the policy of this club for anybody to engage in any criminal activity.
Mr. Neves.
And that's all I will say about that, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. I'm going to mispronounce your name, and I apologize. Orocha. Same question I asked you at college.
I plead the Fifth.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, and that was the video of the New York or the New Jersey Commission asking the questions. They pleaded the Fifth, which is awesome because the fight has to turn to the club going to the press, getting their side of the story out. if they do that, they do that. But again, this type of hearing, now imagine that whole thing packed in front of the federal Judiciary Committee. And again, they are a lot different than the commission, because the federal government on that level, they love making a big scene and all that type of stuff. So, you see this type of stuff, because I get a lot of people that talk about pop-up clubs all the time. And you know what? I actually sat back after I was watching this, and I was like, oh crap, because I was trying to figure out why everybody's popping up. Then I took into consideration the poll, watching this type of stuff, and I realized that people just want to ride and party. They don't want to be involved in politics. They want to do their own thing with their own brothers and stuff. And I was like, well, no wonder everything is exploded. It's because of just that kind of stuff. That and nowadays people don't want to get involved in the old type of stuff. They don't want to get involved with having cops all over them. They just want to do their thing. So that's what I learned there. And again, hopefully this segment is educational, or you get your news out of it. I know a lot of people are mad that I put this kind of stuff out, but we are Biker News. We're not a content creator in the sense of, we got a radio show and we got opinion segments of, just my thoughts. But our main focus is Biker News. And when something like this gets in the news that can affect the whole, community, we put it out there, man. We put the stories out there. And I don't think people realize that is what we are. We're Biker News, man. And I know we're kind of pioneers in this type of segment, because it's only really been around 20 years. The first one being out Biker News Network. And, they've been around 98, I think. But they're mostly, a news type of deal online where, they got the stories going out, but they haven't taken it to the next level like we have, and we covered in depth of what's going on, and hopefully, it makes people think. God forbid, we are supporters of motorcycle club rights, but at the same time, we can't support, as a news organization, the violence. We can't. Who would do that? I ain't MSNBC or freaking CNN. We're trying to get both sides out, but at the same time, we got the values that we got to keep to all of our subscribers, and not just a small segment of subscribers. You can't just zero in on, what you think people like. No, you got to get the debate started. You got to get the news out there and let people decide for themselves, So, again, hopefully you enjoyed this segment. Hopefully you get some discussion started. Hopefully, evolution starts up. Because right now, again, you can't really, bitch about pop-up clubs when this kind of stuff is happening out there, man. Every time we're in the news, we're seeing some violence happening. I wish it would be one day where I wouldn't have to print or comment on something. That would be like a vacation for me, and good for the vacation for the community. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, man, and thanks for watching the segment.